Japan is changing the locks. For years, this country was a best kept secret for anyone who wanted to build a life with some grit and a shoestring budget. But while everyone has been distracted by the election, the Japanese government has quietly installed a high-priced turnstile to enter the country. They haven't just raised the bar on visa renewals, they've installed a 30 million yen wall in some cases. And whether you want to move to Japan, start a business here, or renew your residency in 2026, a lot of the information that you would find online would now be dated. And Japan is now no longer so much looking for founders as they are for funders. So in this video, we're going to talk about 5 different ways in which the residency rules and visa rules have changed that have set up an essential paywall for entry. So the first one that's very near and dear to my heart, as I am interested in having a business in Japan, much as I have my main business incorporated in Canada, has to do with the business manager visa. It used to be that you would get a visa in Japan for the business manager visa of 5 million yen. So it's not an insignificant amount of money for a startup, and that's what the business manager visa is for. And people could do that. You could get the business manager visa. It does have other requirements, like you needed to have one or the other. You could hire somebody full-time, or you could have this investment ready, and that would allow you to get the business manager visa, which is very powerful. But the big change is that now, rather than 5 million yen, this is going to be 30 million yen. So let's say around $200,000. Practically speaking, a lot of startups will have a technical founder and a non-technical founder. You each need the 30 million yen. So this effectively means that, as I alluded to start, that if you are going to come over here, it really is that you're in a position where you're an established business, because startups, unless they've got some serious seed investment or whatever else, round A, round B, there's not a lot of them that are going to have $200,000 per person that they want to be in the country, and that would need to be in their bank. If you're going to have that money, you're going to be spending it on a lot of stuff, whether it's salaries, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's anything else. So this is a pivot in the sense that they aren't so much looking for startups, really. And that's their business. I'm not here to judge. It's observational, but it really does make it hard for somebody who had that aspiration to do that here in the country. So the next one, which is really big that we could talk about, it has to do with visa renewals and permanent residency. So permanent residency used to be a minimal fee. It was around ichiman, so 10,000 yen. What they've said that they're going to do is raise this to international standards. That is to say, when you in other countries pay for your permanent residency to live there, you're going to pay about $1,000. But if you compare this, everybody's used to the standard. And so you just saw this massive increase in how much it's going to cost you to get that permanent residency. If you got a family of 3 people living over here and you've got to do that, well, just do the math. It's real simple. It's going to cost you an arm and a leg to be able to do that permanent residency. And then we could say that dovetailing with that is the actual visa renewal. So forget about if you're thinking of permanent residency. At least you've stayed in the country that long that you can be excited about the future. You've built something up over that time. If you're just trying to make it from year to year, and most people are coming in on a single year work visa, that means whereas before you would have been hit with about 6,000 yen, I just do equal to dollars, say like $60, although it's less than that. It's going up to about 40,000 yen, so about $400 that you would have to pay, 350 if you want to do exact conversion. But these are strong filters for the sort of people that would be able to come into the country. And we know with the stagnation of wages that this makes it particularly hard for people entering in at the lowest part of the totem pole, because you don't have a lot of money in the year. You're just making ends meet. You're just paying month to month to be able to survive, regardless of the cost of living here. and then to be dinged at the end of this with a 40,000 yen bill rather than 6,000 is anything other than, well, it's not insignificant. That would really affect people. The only thing that I can say here for people is that if you had just longer stay visas, you can get a 2-year, you can get a 3-year, you can get a 5-year. I believe 5-year is the maximum on whether it's a engineer specialist visa. Anyways, fact check me on the exact length of visas, whatever. But that is not insignificant. That's going to affect, well, a lot of people, and my heart goes out to them, because it would suck to have to renew. If you had a whole family, that's a lot of money if you're going for permanent residency. So it's just good to be aware of it. And then, well, it is not so delicious for a hard-hitting, controversial video. I will say, in defense of the government, that it is a national standard. Like, a lot of countries would charge this for renewals. It's just that Japan was quite low. So there's something to be said there. The other more politically debatable element is that it's been said that that money that is gained from the permanent residency increase, and as well for people renewing their visas, that's going to go towards expat assistance and like making that system better, that they can acclimatize to the country. Will it? Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. You decide. Rational debate, always, of course, down in the comments below. I don't know. The next one, this is up atop Irony Mountain, where you've got this person who wants to come in and start a business and contribute to the Japanese economy, and they need to have $200,000 to be able to get that business manager visa. But there's this thing called the J-Find, we could say elitism, where the J-Find visa allows graduates from the top 100 global universities within the last 5 years to live in Japan for 2 years with zero sponsor. And you'd need to have $2,000 in savings. And this visa allows you to have 2 years, which is absolutely incredible. The next one, which is absolutely dreadful, in my opinion. If I were going to advise people on the various ways that you might come to Japan and make a meaningful contribution here and really assimilate, the digital nomad is not one. That I've looked at this more, I've done a bit more fact checking on it, and it really is just, it's nasty. I wouldn't recommend that you do this unless you're just super flush with wealth, and even then, it's not that efficient. So the digital nomad visa, it's been capped at 6 months, and it's non-renewable. And then the crazy catch to this is that if you got this visa to enter the country for that long, that it comes with no residence card, which means no residence card means no phone number. No phone number means no house. You are going to be paying an absolute premium to live in the country. To qualify for this as well, you need about a 67K salary. So they are expecting you to be quite wealthy to get in the first place. So you're already set, so it probably doesn't matter to you so much. But then even with that being the case, it's going to be made even more expensive for you because you just don't have these practical access points to the culture. Say, for example, because if you go to get any sort of healthcare, it's not going to be with the Hokensho, with the what would you say, the national healthcare system. So if you were looking at different visas and considering these different options, I would say don't go with that one. Probably just try and be an English teacher for a year and try out the country that way. Help some students, get a year-long visa, have an experience, and you can make some money while you're here rather than having to already have that $67,000 that you're making. So that one, as I say, is not insignificant either, in the sense that it seems appealing. Digital nomad, that sounds like something that should be cutting edge, new age, great permeability to the country, but it's not really. For lack of the visa card, or I should say for lack of the residence card, and then for all the things that go along with that. So now, this is one detail here that we could talk about. It's circling back to the business manager visa, and something that they have put in, which it's a ticking clock. That's how you could think of it. And that is that they have set up a startup visa program across a lot of the prefectures. So what that means is that you can enter the country and you can stay here for up to 2 years. And in that 2-year period, the startup is the precursor to the business manager visa, that you could defer the sort of requirements that the business manager visa has, which is to say that 30 million yen cliff that you need to get over. So that's really helpful. But you do know while you're going through that process that the clock is ticking, because at 2 years' time, you've either built up or through loan or through success of revenue been able to get that $200,000 into the bank and available for them to see, or you haven't. So it's not really a long-term strategy if you don't know that your business is going to be successful. But it is a runway. At least you got a runway now. So our company, Chronicle Creations, is incorporated in Canada. We would like to localize our app for Japan, and my business partner really wants to live in Japan to be able to do that. So we thought that how cool would it be if we were to create a subsidiary in Japan, and he could then come over, live here. We could work on the localization locally. We could hire someone from the culture, get that, sense of marketing here that would be different from the West. All of these great things. And everybody that I spoke to said that this is impossible. It's like, it's one thing for you to be able to jump through all the hoops and be able to get a business manager visa for one business. But if you have two founders trying to get them to come over on that startup visa, this is the point. Here is the focus. It's the startup visa. There's no way that one business is going to be awarded 2 startup visas to be able to go through that process. It was rigorous, and you've got to, it's not in every prefecture. That's a little piece of information I can give you as well, is that some of them have better and worse startup programs. Ibaraki, where I am, I'll focus on the positivity, has a good program. You can get in contact with them, or you can find better resources around Japan by first contacting JETRO, is the government association that then links around Japan into the different prefectural governments and can give you assistance. And when we spoke to them, that was our point of contact. They said, okay, you already live in Ibaraki, you're looking for the startup visa. We can see here that the prefectural government has that program. Would you like us to put you in contact with them? And we said, yes, of course. And then it was a process, as I say, arduous. Like, you need to prove, you need to fit into a specific industry. You need to be able to demonstrate to them why it is that you're particularly innovative. There's all of these check boxes that they need to be able to fill. But we did it all. We got to the end of the process, and lo and behold, we got the golden goose. We got the unicorn, because we were approved for 2 startup visas if we create the subsidiary here. So what I'm saying is, you never know until you find out for yourself, and you go out and turn over a few rocks, whether something is actually going to work or not. So whether it's my opinion or somebody else's that you've heard, confirm and go your own path and roll your own dice, because it's amazing what you can accomplish, and definitely in the face of what you will most often be told. So those are my, I think, interesting updates for this week I wanted to share, because I know that it's touching the lives of a lot of people here, and everybody's struggling. So I just wish them well. I respect that Japan needs to change. I'm not here to judge. They're going to make their decisions, and I'm going to live here and respect whatever it is that they're up to. But to not observe them, I think, is sticking your head in the sand, and then to not acknowledge how they impact you personally is even more, living with your eyes closed. So we still need revenue. We're now, it's about 2 weeks away from our beta launch. It's been an amazing 1.5 years building Dreambook. It is a story creation app for families and their children. We're very excited about it, and we'll just see if we can't get things working here in Japan as well. But the path has been laid clear for us. I won't jibber jabber anymore. I am going to go out again. I said I would last time, but I can't wait to go for another walk and talk. Thanks for tuning into this one. I'll catch you in the next. Peace.